Good morning, people. Have you ever heard of the term English for business or business English? There's a method called Eagle method. It is for busy professionals who already have a level of English. They have already know some English, but they know also how to be successful. So receive this tool to help them finally master the English. What does that mean? How does that reflect to business? So good morning again. This is Monday Talks. My name is Daniel Tokab. Today, our guest is coming all the way from Spain. He's a speaker, English fluency success coach for entrepreneurs, executives. He's also a podcast host, but he's my guest today. Business English. He's giving English a different perspective and a different taste. I would love to welcome one great mind to my small window here. His name is Jesse Sweed. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning, Daniel. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the introduction.
Thanks for you to be here, my guest today. So let's start by simply introducing Jesse to the world. Who's Jesse?
Thanks. Well, I am, as you said, I'm here in Spain. I'm originally from the United States. So I'm an American. I come from Pennsylvania, which is on the east. It's right in between New York and Washington, D.C., right in between there. I spent about 7 years in South Korea teaching English. And then I came here in Spain in 2013.
US to South Korea to Spain.
That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And in that time, since 2006, most of the people I've had interactions with have been non-native English speakers of different levels, right? Mm-hmm. And you start to pick up patterns. You start to pick up strengths, weaknesses, common traits among all levels. So that's what I did. I've just been curious. I love language. I believe language is a window into a culture. Language is much more than just the words that we say, the grammar that we use, but it's a window into a culture. And I really believe that, and I love that.
Love it. It's wonderful when you love what you do, right?
Yeah, that's the point, right? That's the point. Whatever you do, whether you're, washing windows, I believe you can love that and really do that.
I agree.
To be fulfilling, right? But the point is to love what you do and not to drag yourself out of bed to force yourself to go to work, right? Like that's not fun.
100% agree. So let's jump on this question. Like when I started at the beginning, I said like there's a business English. What does that stand for?
Yeah, so I don't know. Business English, is a term that's marketed. It sounds good for marketing for academies. And then it kind of seeps into non-native speakers. So they take these business English courses, by well-meaning teachers, but the teachers are teaching from textbooks. So they teach, business English vocabulary, expressions to say in a meeting, but really it doesn't really progress because what is business English? It's English that you use for a business purpose, right? And Danielle, you know this, like we communicate, we sell products, we do business with other people, right? So really from like in marketing terms, like this business English mask, it's almost useless because people who learn business English are losing the touch and losing the idea that we do business with people. So the point is to be able to communicate effectively to another human being. That's what I believe.
So
and it starts from inside us.
So it's basically the same English, same emotions to express, But the thing is, it's like different expressions, right? It's like, how is it different to be business approach rather just like
Yeah, that's a
normal
good question.
communication?
So that's another thing. Business English, like you said, what does that mean? Because business has so many facets, so many aspects. So like business English for marketing and for copywriting will be far different than business English for sales. That'll be far different than business English to talk to an international office, like to have business meetings. That'll be far different than business English to give presentations, or business English to run a team, or business English to do negotiations. It's all different, right? So I guess the core question is to ask yourself, meaning that the person learning, or if your audience wants to learn business English, the first question is, what's my objective? What do I really want? Like, and then learn English to be more effective in that area, whether you're leading a team, or whether you're preparing to give presentations, or whether you're, calling people on sales calls, right? What is my objective? What do I want to use this business English for? And what language will make me more effective in that?
Does that cover the question? Like you were saying in one of your posts, there's a big difference between studying English and learning English. Is there a difference between coaching English for business and learning simple English for communication?
I think so, right? I think you're a non-native English speaker, so you probably, like, I learned my information from talking to people like you, really. So
I'm your target audience then.
Yeah. So I guess to answer that, studying English is a lot different than learning English, because I talk to a lot of people that study for their C1, certificate, or for, they study a list of vocabulary words, and they know more grammar than many native speakers. Right? I could say to many non-native speakers, like, how do you make a second conditional, second sentence? Like, they would be able to tell me the structure, which many native speakers wouldn't. So that's studying. But to learn English, to use it, it has to come and touch you from the inside. It has to come from the inside. What do you want? What are your goals? What are your objectives? Why do you want this? What do you want to be able to communicate? Because if I want to go out with my friend and like talk in social environments, and I'm talking me in Spanish, right? I'll be using different type of language than if I were to,
obviously
try to sell in Spanish.
Okay, so here I am. I am a business owner. I'm a non-native English speaker, and I have my own team. So what's in it for me? I mean, I'm communicating well with my team. They are all also non-native speakers. So what's my gain if I join this program of yours?
That's a good question. English is different, I believe, and I've found different from any other language in the world in terms of its opportunities, its expectations, and the pressure that people put on themselves and others. And there's a certain elitism, like it or not, for better or worse, there's a certain elitism with English for many people. So if a lot of the times it shows up in your self-image, like if your self-image is fine, if you truly feel great when speaking English, if you can communicate powerfully, and if you don't have that little voice in the back of your head saying, oh, you're making mistakes, oh, you're losing respect, you're things like that. If you don't have that, then
you're cool.
English isn't your main concern. You don't need me, right?
I think you have to think English and then you know what I'm saying. It's like if my background or my mother tongue is Spanish, for example, I have the thoughts in Spanish, and then I try to translate it. But I reach the point where I can think in English and then just like say it out, right? So once you reach this point, then you master your English. Or am I saying a right thing, or I don't know.
It could be, right? So I actually, that's the goal of a lot of people. They think they want to think directly in English. I push back on that sometimes, and I say, usually we think in pictures, and then we put words to those pictures.
Oh.
And when people tell me they want to think directly in English, they mean that they don't want to always translate. And I think that people go directly from the picture to English a lot more than they give themselves credit for. So I think the first thing is to become aware, right? It's all in self-awareness. Become aware of when you actually in real life have to translate and struggle with that translation. And when you do go straight from the picture to the words. So I'll give you a simple basic example. Like for the sentence you just gave, for example, right? So how do I go directly from, the idea to English? Like when you said that, you probably didn't translate. And you probably did go straight from, and this is what I say to most people who do ask me this request, right? Like you probably didn't translate that sentence. If you want to go grab a coffee and you say, I want to order a coffee, and you do it in English, you probably don't translate. So the question is, are you aware of that when you do think the thoughts directly from the pictures, and do you appreciate yourself for that? And that's the thing, like, what do you become aware of? When does this happen? Do you only think about that the times when you struggle and then you say, oh, I always struggle? Or do you appreciate the times in yourself within when you do go straight from this? And then you might say, well, that's only ordering a coffee, or that's a simple sentence. Well, okay, but appreciate yourself. And then you'll start seeing like more times when you can appreciate yourself for going straight and thinking directly in English. Does that make sense?
So good. Yeah, so far so good. Well, I have a little limited time here, but I would love to cover the thing of eagle method before we wrap it up. What does that mean? Who is it for? Can you explain?
Okay. Yeah, good question. So the eagle method is essentially kind of what we were talking about, right? So it's restructuring the idea of learning English, right? So we're not going, we're turning it around the opposite way, starting with your goals, and then I give you a way to observe English. And it's kind of like, and it's called the eagle method because the approach is kind of like you're an eagle soaring through the sky. And just like how the eagle sees a fish or sees a rabbit or sees a snake, right? You look at your language, swoop down and take the language that serves you. And then you're not spending all of your bandwidth studying useless, future perfect tense that you're not really going to use very often. You'll study that when you need it, when it comes up. So you're minimizing the effort and making the results deeper. And it's all for a purpose. It's all for your main purpose. And who is it for? It's for people who are usually already at like an intermediate, even advanced level, but they still lack that control. They still have that voice in the back of their head. They still feel like the passenger rather than the driver of English. So I want to give that control back to them.
Cool. It's like gaining the trust back, right?
Gaining trust?
Yeah.
Gaining trust in yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, it's always like in the back of my mind, or maybe some more people will agree with me, like learning English has to be there in the early years. And this is the first time I get introduced to this business English. So thank you so much for that. And I'm sure that our audience here would like to learn more about this. So one last thing before we close, what kind of advice Jesse has to the world of non-native English speakers?
Okay, one last message to the world of non-native English speakers, especially if you're watching this podcast and you're listening to me, you are most likely, you are a lot closer to the level of English that you want in your imagination. You're a lot closer than you realize. So appreciate what you can do and keep learning more for your specific objective, and appreciate yourself.
Amazing.
So you can appreciate others.
Amazing. It was so wonderful. And I'm sorry I have to wrap it up. Actually, we exceeded what we targeted for, because talking to you is like it never ends. It's wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jesse Sweed with me here on Monday Talks. I hope you enjoyed the talk, just like I was, and I have. And what I would like to say, if you want to learn more, here's your call, Jesse Sweed. Stay tuned with me and see you next Monday. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.